Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Welcome to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Hear thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs. And to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles, go to DennisPrager.com. On today's episode of Timeless Wisdom.
The power of the male sex drive is stunning. And its ability to overwhelm the mind. The feminist argument, which is such a denial of reality that the sex drives are identical in the two sexes, it's painful that a society could have produced people who believe the opposite of what is true. It is. It's a stunning victory.
That's coming up on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. And it starts right now.
I'm old-fashioned. I like two sexes. Yeah, and another thing, all of a sudden I don't like being married to what is known as a new woman. I want a wife, not a competitor. Competitor.
Talk about a bit, this crying in the morning thing, this depression, let's get that fixed.
That's what men think, isn't it?
What?
Unless you've got the answer, unless you can say, oh, I know this bloke in the Essex Road who could fix that, then there's no point bothering.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
I love him, and I don't care what you think. I love him for the man he wants to be, and I love him for the man that he almost is.
What do people have rows about?
Money, sex, money. He wants, she doesn't want.
She wants, he doesn't want.
Women have always been a big problem to me, Dr. Fussband. Are you listening, Doctor?
Yes. Go on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Male-Female Hour. And this hour is a present to men and women, both, this topic, but especially to women. Really, if men understand it, it's just as much a present to them. But I often know that it is men who are giving my lectures or recordings of my shows to their wives or their girlfriends to better understand men. This is one case where I do believe that wives will be giving the recording to their husbands or their boyfriends. I want to deal with the subject, and by the way, welcome to the show. Every Wednesday, the second hour of the Dennis Prager Show is devoted to men and women, and it's titled The Male-Female Hour, where I am very honest on the show, and because only honesty on this subject, or any subject for that matter, can help people. Now, let me give you the title, and then give you a little introduction, and then give you solutions. Men are solution-oriented. I am a guy. I'm very solution-oriented, and this is exactly what both sexes need on this subject. And the subject is, how can men control their sexual nature? Because it is the biggest burden on the vast majority of men's shoulders. It is. Women have their burdens. Men have theirs. This is the male burden. So much so that I was actually thinking of titling my book, The Male Burden. In fact, on dark days where I didn't get enough sleep and it's affected my mood, I actually wanted to title the book, No Solution. An investigation into male sexual nature. But there are solutions. They're not perfect. There are no perfect solutions. Life is a challenge. But they're good. Now, what do I mean by controlling male sexual nature? Men are preoccupied with sex. And the reason that, again, like everything else that I say about men, the reason that I can prove, or the reason it is provable, that this is true of male nature and not because society has told men to think this way, an idea that is so foolish, so stupid, that it could only be believed by people who went to graduate school, that the proof is that gay men, homosexual men, are the same. They haven't been socialized into this thinking. Whatever is true about straight men, who are 97% of the population, is true of the 3% that is gay. And that's the proof. And the only difference between a straight man and a gay man is the object of their sexual desire. Men like to see pictures of unclothed women. Gay men like to see pictures of unclothed men. The straight man wants an infinite number of women. The gay man wants an infinite number of men. That's just the way it is. That's male nature. So how do you deal with it? How does a guy deal with it? They put one university put men alone in a room, asked them after hours, what did you think about sports and sex? They asked women what they thought about. They reviewed conversations. The women didn't sit in there, and these are young women with raging hormones too. But they didn't sit in there and imagine, fantasizing or thinking about guys and taking their clothes off. All right? I mean, it's so obvious that only the well-educated could deny it. Now, the question is, what, guys, do you do about it? So I have 4 suggestions, and probably will have more over the course of the hour. And I am certainly pleased to take questions, challenges, and further suggestions, but don't call yet. Wait a moment till I give you my list, and then flood the lines at 1-8-PRAGER-776. And here they are, in no order of importance, although one can assign any order one wants. Number 1, stay busy. Gentlemen, that, in fact, if I had to give a number 1, that's number 1. Stay busy. When you have time on your hands, what is the old saw there? What is it? Idle hands are the devil's playground or something like that? Yeah. It's funny how we poo-poo these old lines of wisdom, but it's only because people like to believe that they are reinventing the wheel. But guys, if you stay busy, that is an enormous help. And take on tasks. Take on responsibilities, take on tasks, and that will help immensely. Every guy knows almost that there's almost a sense of relief when they've had a period of time when they've not been sexually preoccupied because they've been so busy doing something else. It's almost a relief. Number 2, be with your wife as much as possible. That's going to help. I mean, unless you don't like your wife, that's its own problem, or she doesn't like you. That's its own problem. But it's a massive help to be with the woman you chose to be with as much as you can. That helps. Number 3, do things with good male friends. Even though the talk will inevitably come to sex at some point anyway, it's still good to be with good men. The throwing of men because of the age of stupidity, which emanates in part from the age of equality in which we live, the throwing of men into the company of women at all times has not been good for either sex. Feminists have wanted this, but people warned, for example, Rotary clubs. Rotary clubs were all male until, about 20 years ago? And then in the name of equality, they opened up to women. And I fully understand that. And I've spoken before Rotary clubs of men and women, and a lot of these women are just terrific. They're great for society. They're great in their areas of work. The ideal would have been, I think, a male Rotary club and a female Rotary club. What I was a member of the Rotary Club of Simi Valley, California, in my mid-20s, many years ago, 30 years ago, and I remember very, very well looking at these men, nearly all of them older than I, with great admiration, because the entire meeting was guys talking about their fishing trips, at the table, but the content of the meeting was how to do good for retarded kids, how to give more scholarships to poor kids, how to visit kids at the hospital. It was all works of goodness. The men were preoccupied with other good men, not in making business deals. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I never heard it. Now, of course, you make contacts that way. That's true. But that was the argument given by feminists, both male and female feminists. The argument was given, well, it's not fair to women. They can't make these contacts like men can. And I understand. I'm not saying the argument is totally false, but a terrible price was paid in terms of the issue of monogamy that I'm talking about. Because wonderful women would meet wonderful men in a very wonderful circumstance, and things happen. But when men were just with men, obviously it didn't happen. All right, I have a fourth suggestion, but I'm now open to your calls from men and women on men dealing with their sexual nature. 1-8-PRAGER-776. That's 877-243-7776, The Dennis Prager Show.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show, the male-female hour. I welcome your calls now. I asked you to hold off. 1-8-PRAGER-776. How men can control their atomic bomb, their nuclear device which is in them, which is their sexual nature. The power of male sexual nature to overwhelm the otherwise often rational mind of a man is so well known. I mean, you just look at the men who have sacrificed all just for a fling with some woman. I mean, think about it. You get an idea. We don't have that with women. I cannot think of a female politician that risked everything for a fling with a man. And just that alone, unless you argue women have an infinitely better ability to control their sexual nature, the answer is, and they don't. What they do is they have a different sexual nature. I mean, so the problem is men controlling their sexual nature. The problem for women is controlling their emotional nature. Each sex has its own challenge. And this is the challenge for men, and I'm dealing with that subject today. I began with stay busy. The phrase, by the way, the actual phrase, and what did you say the phrase was? Hey, Sean, Mr. McConnell, what did you say it was? Nah, you missed. Idle hands are the devil's playground is not the correct. Not the devil's workshop. Yes, tools. Very good. You folks did not hear his rebuttal. So I would like to announce it for the country. He said, that for the record, he did not fill in the last word. I did. Yeah, but you assented. It's tools. Idle hands are the devil's tools. Anyway, so number one was keeping busy. Guys, it works. Sitting around watching TV is probably the worst thing a guy can do when I think of it. Really think about it. Men, guys, I know you, you know me, okay? We're guys. Sitting around doing nothing, watching television, getting with your beer or whatever, or even no beverage. TV is essentially a sexual stimulant in the evenings. That is its primary purpose in many commercials and in many shows. So that's not going to be very helpful, is it? You're not doing anything constructive. You are doing the most passive thing a human can do. To watch television over hours takes less intellectual effort than watching a tree grow, and so it's probably the worst thing. So stay busy. Take up an instrument. Increase your hours of I don't know, of whatever work you do. Hopefully at home, you would be able to do more of that work so that you're not away from the house. Whatever it might be, take on a hobby. Take on a passion, which is what hobbies are. Be with your wife as much as possible. Do things with good male friends. The effect that good men have on other men was noted through all of human history until the 60s and 70s, when a massive cloud and veil of stupidity descended on Western civilization, and especially America. Almost everything to come out of that period was stupid. It wasn't just wrong, it was stupid. And one of them was the denial of how critical it is for males to have male mentors and to have other good men in their lives. Every society understood it, which is why there was so often men's groups like the Rotary clubs, which did so much good for society and so much good for men. And guys keep guys faithful. That's the irony. Good men, if any guy out there with good male friends, males with good character, know that they help guys stay monogamous. And finally, just on a very much smaller scale, but nevertheless ubiquitous, is the guy, what I call Radar Ron, the guy who sits with you in the restaurant. And by the way, it's just as true if he sits with you, a female, as you, a male. I've been with these guys, and every woman who walks into the restaurant, the guy's head turns and he stays there. And it's annoying to me, a man, when a guy does that. So it's just what you do, guys, is you take a chair facing the wall, and that ends the problem. Right? Out of sight, out of mind is the truest thing for sexual stimulation for males. 1-8-PRAGER 776, 1-8-PRAGER 776. All the calls so far up on the board are from men. Women, if you have any questions or thoughts on this, obviously welcome. Almost always it just works out 50-50 males and females calling in. But, I mean, if it's all one sex, it's fine with me, too. 1-8-PRAGER 776-877-243-7776. And let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, and Ben. Hello, Ben. Dennis Prager.
How you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
I think one of the important things is when you're out with your friends and stuff to talk well of your wife.
That's
always
interesting.
praise her and say how lucky you are to have her and how good she is and all the good stuff she does, instead of complain about everything.
Well, if that's how you feel about your wife, that's terrific, and you should.
But it's amazing how all the guys that complain about your wife, when you start complimenting yours, all of a sudden they start talking well of their wife.
Oh, that's an interesting point. That's probably true, and I thank you for that call. It'd be a semi-fun, semi-depressing topic about how each sex, when they are with members of their own sex, talk about their spouses. I have no idea what the answer is. I've never been in an all-women's group by definition. But I would be very curious to know. I don't think the men don't tend to talk about that much. I think when men get together, I don't think they tend to talk as much about their wives, positively or negatively, as I think that women getting together talk about their husbands. It's just a guess. 1-800-Prager-776, and we'll take more of your calls. This can be extremely helpful to both men and women because the burden of the male sexual nature is intense. And we have to maturely and wisely work at how we can deal with it. You're listening to the Male-Female Hour on The Dennis Prager Show.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
Why does it always seem to be me looking at you with you looking at me? It's always the same, it's just a shame, that's all. Turning me on, turning me on.
All righty, everybody, you're listening to the Dennis Prager Show. And this is the Male-Female Hour, 1-800-Prager-776, on the phenomenally important subject of how guys can control their sexual nature, which is, I guess the best analogy to it is like having a nuclear bomb inside of a human. The power of the male sex drive is stunning, and its ability to overwhelm the mind, just as the power of female emotions is so stunning. But the feminist argument, which is such a denial of reality that the sex drives are identical in the two sexes. It's painful that a society could have produced people who believe the opposite of what is true. It is. It's a stunning victory for dogma over truth, and it's had a terrible impact on both sexes. But how men can control themselves in this arena, and as I said, I mean, one of the great examples is how many women leaders have been brought down because of a sexual scandal, and how many male leaders? What is it? 0 on women, or 0.00001%? All righty, let's go to some of your calls here. And let's go to John in Corona, California. Hello, John. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi.
One of my favorite commentators on the radio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Dennis, I've been listening a little bit to your show, and I usually listen as much as I can. And my comment is this, that having been in 2 relationships, and I understand, and I've seen many times where the relationship is like all kinds of passion and love, and then a couple of years of marriage, and it just fizzles. And it's not you, it's the other person who just is no longer important. And I think that's a real factor for male or female if that happens. I really think that couples need to stay in tune and find medically why those kinds of things are happening. It's hard. I mean, I've experienced that myself, and it's wonderful to view a beautiful woman. And I guess my response to that is that I struggle with that same thing where you accommodate, where the guys, you go out and one guy's looking at the beautiful woman going by, and you don't know what to do. My way of resolving that problem was that I rather than have some sexual interest in the person, was viewed as something that God had made, that it's beautiful, just like nature and everything around us, and appreciate it for that and nothing else.
Well, if you could do that, you are you're on a very high level of manhood. I don't think most men have achieved that, and I don't know if they can. Some men can achieve that. To look at a sexy, beautiful woman and think aesthetically and not in any way erotically. I think that's an amazing achievement, and I have not reached your level. I will be absolutely candid. But if you have, by golly, more credit to you. Let's go to Springfield, Pennsylvania, and Michael. Hello, Michael. Dennis Prager.
Hello, Dennis.
Hi.
Thank you for all your hard work.
This is hard work.
The
male-female hour, because it's such sensitive subjects that I have to choose every word so carefully while telling the truth. So it is hard work. Thank you.
This is an add-on to your staying busy.
Yep.
After completing a weekend project, I think every man should reward himself with, like, going out to dinner with his wife and definitely intimacy afterwards. This is, I think, would be like an end to a perfect weekend, and it definitely will strengthen the marriage significantly.
Yes, very good. I agree, and the truth is, I was talking solely about what men could do. I guess when I come back, I'll talk about what the wife can do to help the man in this regard. Back in a moment. I'm Dennis Prager. All righty, everybody, the male-female hour on the Dennis Prager Show, dealing with the question of having established over the course of millennia, but certainly over the course of the years of my talking about this, the power of the male sexual drive and its nature, how men can control this. Each sex has its burden. For most women, controlling their emotions, and for most men, controlling their sexual nature, are lifelong projects. And it's a sign of the lack of wisdom of our time that we truly do live in the age of stupidity because of widespread college education and the effect of the 60s and 70s and television and the like, that people don't realize the greatest battle that we have in America is not with society, it's with ourselves. Anyway, that's what wisdom teaches, but there isn't much wisdom. And this is one example. Now, I spoke about the 4 things men can do. Stay busy, be with your wife as much as possible, do things with good male friends, and stare at the wall at a restaurant instead of out if you can't stop staring at the attractive women who walk into the restaurant. That doesn't mean that the wife is not a powerful factor in helping men in this arena. One thing, believe it or not, that a wife can do is tell her husband, and didn't we have a call that I even asked that we keep of the woman telling me that because she heard me say this on the radio, that she did tell her husband how much she appreciated his being faithful in light of his polygamous nature, which is what men have. And she said it just turned the marriage around. He was so happy to know of her appreciation. I think that is something, just as a man should always note what he appreciates about his woman. There are many things that you can appreciate about your man. One of them is that he is monogamous, given his nature. So that's a little thing. I mean, it's not hard, I would think, for a woman to say. Maybe it is hard. Maybe it is hard because it acknowledges that his nature is to be with other women, and that may be painful for a woman who loves her man to acknowledge. But it's the truth, and a mature woman acknowledges it. The other thing that a woman could do, obviously, is to try to give him the joy at home that would help him stay monogamous and control his nature, obviously. And that is by, is looking as good as she can. And women, you know what? That's a subject we're going to deal with. Women think that they have to look like porn stars or models in what is that again? Victoria's Secret catalog, in order to keep their man happy, or in order to be considered attractive. It is so not true, women. It is so not true. I need to devote an hour to that and give you proofs as a man and from society that will resonate with you, at least in part, that is not what your man expects. Okay? It's. I mean, there are some men who might. They're nutty. It's not the issue. But staying as attractive as you can for him is a loving thing to do, just as not denying sex when unnecessary. We talked about that in the past, but so there are ways in which you can help him, but I've been addressing him most of this hour. Okay, let's go to back to Atlanta, Georgia, and Robert. Hello, Robert. Dennis Prager.
Dennis Prager, first-time caller. Really admire your show. You touched on something that I think we have a problem with, television.
Yes,
we have a high Latino invasion in Atlanta, in Douglasville, and I've noticed when I've watched television, flipping through the channel, when I come across a Latino station, it's very provocative, and it seems like it'd be very stimulating.
Oh, it is. I just don't like the word invasion, but aside from that, and I'm not, I'm not accusing you of any. Don't worry, but I just want to say it for myself and for my listeners. But you are right. I mean, when on those periods, which are very rare, but I have to watch TV a little bit to be aware of what's going on in television land. What I have seen on Latin TV is gorgeous women provocatively dressed. That's basically what it's about. And the guys are watching it who don't even know any Spanish. So clearly it's they can't argue it's for the content. Like the old, I'm reading Playboy for the articles. There might have been, at least there's the possibility of truth. But a guy who doesn't speak Spanish watching Latino TV, there's no possibility that it's the content. And by the way, if the guy says it is the content, what you do is you turn off the video and just keep the talk on and see how long he stays interested. You're right. That's why I said the worst thing that a guy could do who wants to control his nature is watch TV for long periods. TV is soft porn, especially in the evenings. B, he's doing nothing. You're not busy when you watch television. That's the point. You're busy when you are doing something. If you're constructing a bookcase, you're busy. Right? If you're learning a foreign language or learning a musical instrument or for that matter, reading a book or writing a book or writing a poem or planting your garden. I mean, there's so much to keep a man or a woman, but obviously a man busy, that television is the worst possible thing if the issue is the control of one's sexual nature. It is really it's a TNA box in the evening. That's what TV is largely, and that's why I have the deepest anger at anybody affiliated with MTV, that cesspool that has ruined a generation. It's one of the rare times I have to control myself against expletives is when I think of MTV. Shame on anybody affiliated with it in any way whatsoever. Back in a moment.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
You say goodbye, and I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello.
All righty, everybody, you're listening to the Dennis Prager Show.
You say no.
Thank you, Beatles. They were good. They were good. No, and I'm a classical musician. These guys were good. All right, I want to summarize the hour here and also react to some of the calls that are on the board. This is the male-female hour every week at this time. By the way, I want to remind you, as I am reminded here by Betty at the Prager shop, as it were, that I have my 4-CD talk on male sexual nature, which is I have so many letters from women saying, and from men, but especially appreciated from women, that it turned their marriage around, literally, or saved their marriage even, because now the wife understood her husband. So that plus there's a compilation of the male-female hours, the available too. 800-225-8584 is the number to order anything. 800-225-8584 or at DennisPrager.com. I've been talking about men controlling their sexual nature, which is a lifelong project for men, and it is lifelong. We're going to talk once about that disgusting term of dirty old man. When I was 20, I found that an offensive, disgusting comment. It's funny what is allowed to be said about men that proper society would never allow about women. Because a man continues to have sexual interest as an old man, therefore he's dirty. What does that assume? That as a man gets older, he becomes neutered? It's really disgusting, and it reminds me of my favorite, one of my 10 favorite calls of the woman doctor who called me and rather annoyed that she said, I was with this 90-year-old man as he died as his doctor, and right before he died, I noticed him looking down my shirt, my blouse, and I told her that I can't think of a better way to go. If that's what fate has for me, I could think of worse ways of leaving this world. It's not the reaction she wanted, but why was she horrified? I mean, what is horrific about that? Why can't she see it as even cute, or life-giving? Anyway, men, you have to work on this. Stay busy, gentlemen. Take on hobbies and projects. Build a nice bookcase. It helps. Lori, Rocky, Braca, Jim, Nathan, I wish I could take your calls. Do send me emails. I love reading them. You're listening to The Dennis Prager Show.
Tomorrow on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager.
There is one question I will tell you now that is not answerable. That is simply a matter of faith. And I respect both positions equally as it happens. And that is, God directs everything or God allows randomness to take place. I respect both positions equally. And I am comfortable with both and uncomfortable with both.
Join us tomorrow to hear more on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. This has been Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Visit DennisPrager.com for thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs, and to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.